And
Uh-huh.
I'm so excited to see Waitstill. We go way back, and I haven't seen Waitstill for a long time.
Good.
So good to see you, Waitstill.
It's been quite a while. I really, I appreciate getting to do this. I don't feel very qualified in it, but I do feel a very strong feelings about it. Here in Avery County, our land's limited. We're in the tree business. I'm a Christmas tree grower, and what land we got, we want to produce a pretty good crop, and it returns money. And over the years, I've learned that anything you do is to market. And I used to tell the growers of Christmas trees that when they started planting Christmas trees, before you put that tree in the ground, you decide where you're going to go with that product. Are you going in the chain stores? That's a Christmas tree. You're going in the chain stores, you're going to retail lots, you're going to wholesale, whatever you're going to do. You need to know where your product's going. Well, when we heard about the hemp, I've got a buddy out in Oregon, and Oregon's been into it pretty good while. And last year I called him and asked him how the hemp business was doing in Oregon. And he just laughed and he said, well, there's 1,200 acres out here that wasn't even harvested. And we had a meeting with 12 men, and they were wanting to make a growers association for hemp down there at my little place where I live, Plumtree. We met and we got a little information about how it's going to be, and then they said we'll meet again, and they give us a little more information. And I got to looking around, and I couldn't get enough information to make a good judgment. So that's when I came to visit you all at the research station. I appreciate that day. And then your girls really done a bang up good job. They showed me everything there was to see over there, I think. And we went ahead and planted uh, a half acre, and I wanted to plant it to see how you grow it, what the problems were, because Mother Nature, sort of the way I am, I'm still planting trees. Here I am about kick the bucket, older and older, and my food wouldn't. I'm still going to plant trees, and if I'd got in hemp business, it wouldn't have been 1 acre we'd planted. We'd planted the whole bottom down there, 15, 20, 30 acres. And I wanted to plant 1 acre to see just how to do it. And it's fun to grow. It really was, and we got along good. And I still got the hemp in my drying board. My problem was that we got one price when I first started. You know, and the first year out, my neighbors they grew it, and they sold 475 pounds and got $19,000. Well, that's $40 a pound. Well, that really looked good. You know, we all got to look at that, and then we heard prices. Some of them for the season get $60, and then it was up and down. Well, this year they couldn't even sell the product, and they had an offer of $2 for stuff, and it's just a hard way to go right now because they're old supplies. We just come out of a Christmas tree downturn. Uh, we've been in it about 7 years, and we've been out of it now 2 years, and so I was very familiar with what it is to not make any money on a product and still having to grow it. And these fellows have still got their barns full. I've still got my hemp in my barn, and I couldn't get processors to be interested in it. And a lot of times, they'll probably tell you that they want the product, but they wouldn't want to pay you till they got the stuff run, and then it'd be 6 months or longer before you got your money. So that was very discouraging. Uh, like like I said, we studied it. We thought with the land being limited, if we could got $40 a pound out of the hemp, man, we could have grown. Avery County could have been a good place to grow it, But we've got several growers here. I guess it's what 4 or 5 growers maybe in the county now. And but what it is when you go into any product, it's hemp. You got to know your market. You got to know what your competition is. And when we first year we was into it, I believe that year there was 300 and some permits given. Next year, I believe it was 1,200. and then the next year it doubled again. And we used to raise burley tobacco. When the tobacco program went out, and when I went down to state, I was in classes, and these boys would start talking about 1 and 2 and 3. Well, being raised up here, I was talking about tenths. 10th acre tobacco, 2 tenths or 3 tenths. Well, they was talking about acres. I knew that when the fluke-eared boys, and all the land they had, if they got into the hemp business, they'd oversupply until the market. And I don't know if that's what happened to it, but I know the market's is not there. Now, Joe mentioned about processing. You got to know your processors. You got to decide what you're going to do with it. You're going to make CBD oil out of it. You're going to smoke the flowers. You're going to have the fiber. What are you going to do? You got to know all that. And everything you do comes right back to money. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. It's where you're going to make money. And every product we put out, I've made so many bad decisions in my life. And I'm very sensitive to whether I'm going to make any money before I do it, And so you got to know your buyer. You're going to know where you process it. And then you got to know about the quality. I mean, your products, you got to know what the buyer expects. And I put mine out, and all of a sudden, Joe come down and was looking at it, and he said, "Oh, that's got seed." And I said, "What's that mean?" It's male seed. I didn't know you didn't have that. So I had to cut a third of my crop down because it had male flowers in it. Well, that was very discouraging to me if I'd been planning on making money out of it. And you got to know all those angles. And but what you got to know is the market and where you're going with it and what the end product's going to be.
Absolutely right.
And I don't know. I'm open for any questions. Or Jerry, if you think I ought to mention something else, you tell me.
I think you covered it well, Wes.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. My men, it tickled them to death because we've been Christmas trees, man. We got to go down there and cut that hemp, hang it in the dryer, and then strip that off. We thought we was hot heaven. We had a good time while I was doing it. We just didn't make any money. So if anybody wants, feel free to call me if you have any questions. I don't want to be plumb discouraging, but you need to look and see what's out there and where you're going to go with it.
You gonna keep growing it, Waitsville?
I will not, Janine, unless the market, if the market cleared up, I would. But I enjoyed doing it. I didn't have any problem with insects. I didn't have, one thing, this is crazy. I'm not got good sense, but they told me that hemp was a soil cleaner. So they did take things out of the soil that other plants didn't take out. Now, I don't know whether this is right or not, but I was told that. And I'm not sure whether Jerry told me or somebody else. But I thought if I could grow hemp and put it on some of that ground that I'm having trouble with phytophthora in my Fraser fir, I thought, man, I'd plant it out with all my trees. And but I'm not sure if that's right. But I did enjoy growing it, and I have the land to grow it in and got the labor to do it with, but the market isn't there at this point in time. It may come around, but it's not there right now.
So, Waitsville, you're representing somebody that wants to do this on a larger scale, like you do your trees and everything else I've talked with you about. So you're not interested in doing it on a smaller scale and processing your own. You want to grow wholesale and sell it wholesale, right?
That's the way I am.
Okay. Okay. So that's really good to get that different angle. Do we have any questions? Katie, I've only been monitoring some of the volume issues here. Do we have some other questions that came through specifically for Waitsville?
It doesn't seem like there's any specifically for Waitsville, but Bruce Scoggin would like to know if anyone is growing for fiber. And I will note that we do have a fiber processor speaking a little bit later on, but he was interested if anyone is growing for fiber.
We did not do that, and I really think, again, this is my opinion. I think we'll have to go off the mountain where we got lots of good land to grow, to give enough fiber to justify. Because up here, we take a good acre and we think we're really done well. But if you're going to grow for fiber, I expect you've got to have where you have a lot of equipment, good ground, and where you can process it, let it and harvest it in whole works.
Okay. Any other questions? We've got some really good comments coming through the chat, and we will save that chat so it'll be available for all of us to read through at our leisure. Waitsville, that was a really good viewpoint, and I like the way you guys, had growers kind of representing both sides of the spectrum. Somebody that's doing smokable flour and processing their own, making their own products to sell at retail, and then someone that wants to do the more wholesale type production, which I think a lot of us assumed our hemp production was going to be across this whole state when we got started in 2017.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we don't have any more questions for Waitsville, and I don't see any of those coming in, we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but that's quite all right. It'll give us good time for a discussion later on. We're ready to move on to Dustin Brogdon with Abby's Angels.